Hello, my name is Rek Dunn, and this is my progress presentation. So, first and foremost, my original goals for the 4 weeks was to create and film a podcast. What ended up happening is I ended up having to come up with a secondary goal because the first goal was not able to be completed the way I needed it to be completed in the 4-week time period. So the goals for the podcast was decide on the podcast content, create branding for said podcast, and film the podcast. What I decided to do for my secondary goal was to work on and build on my art for sale. I basically am an artist and I work in different conventions and art conventions around Orlando. And I have one big convention that's coming up in Sanford and a comic book store in Sanford, downtown Sanford. So I wanted to prepare for that and I had a lot that I had to prepare for. So for that, I decided on working on the content for the show, buy useful materials for the show, as well as create branding for the show, and then obviously be ready for Free Comic Book Day on March 6th. Or May 6th, I'm sorry. So basically what I decided to do was create as much branding as I possibly could in the time period that I had. Not only did I create business cards as well as stickers, I also worked on as much art as I possibly can or could in the time period that I have preparing for the art day, as well as having a Facebook, an Etsy, and Instagram, and a website put together to help with the podcast and getting that out as well. Now, as far as my relevant goals are concerned, for the art for sale, basically my 3 main goals were time management, content creation, and establishing a business model. As far as the podcast was concerned, finding a creative group to work with, as well as content creation again, and steady and repetitive growth. When it comes to creating a podcast and trying to build a brand online, YouTube, and any of those things, you want to keep that repetitive and the repetition going. If you want to film and put your stuff out every 2 weeks or every week, you want to make sure that people know where to find you and how to find you and when to look for you. So you want to be as consistent as possible. As far as the art is concerned, you want to make sure that you do work that's relevant for the time period and basically what people are looking for and what's popping right now. Now, again, I cannot stress enough, time management is one of the most, if not the most important thing to basically work on when doing any content creation on any deadline. It's one of the hardest things to figure out. Everybody has their own way of doing things, and so yeah, it can be hard when you have a lot on your plate. But as far as time management is concerned, it's creating the right atmosphere for your creations. Being as versatile as possible, and remember that there's no such thing as not enough time. You make time for the things that are important to you. Now, as far as what I learned in this 4-week process, I definitely learned if it's worth it for you, it's never going to be easy. Being a creator means being 5 steps ahead of the consumer. You always want to think ahead of whatever's relevant now, just so you stay ahead of the curve. Be careful who you trust your creations to and who you choose to create with. You want to spend your time as wisely as you possibly can. You also want to take risks. You got to take risks. You got to put yourself out there, but just don't give yourself too much time to spend in the wrong situation. You want to use your time wisely. Again, time management. Now, as far as my advice is concerned, well, I would have to say make sure you work with people that inspire you to be better. You don't want to spend too much time not knowing exactly what it is you're trying to do with your content. It's always good to experiment, but you definitely want to kind of have an idea of what your end result is. And secondly, never live long in your comfort zone. Again, that's one of the hardest things to do. I know for myself, it's a hard thing to do, is to step out of your comfort zone, try something that you're a little afraid of. Sometimes it costs money, and lots of times it just costs time. Yeah, I mean, I have to say that's something that I've learned recently in the past 4 weeks, in the past 6 to 7 to 8 months. Definitely something to take to heart. Yep, and that's about it. Thank you very much.